everyone. I'm very glad to welcome all of you on our HR Trends course. And today we have class number 1, and we are going to talk about upcoming trends for the next several years. And actually, we are going to discuss what's happening now and what causes these trends. So let's start. This course has its own website, of course, and the address is here, Trends Inc. And this course consists of six classes. Today will be class number 1 about HR trends 2025 and 2030. Then next class we are going to talk about working with Generation Z and Alpha. Then we will talk about working in a modern company today and tomorrow. Then we will have class about modern HR and people management practices. I would say the most important one here for this course, because you just not just want to learn these trends. You want to apply these trends to your work, to your company, and that's why you need this class number 4. Then we will talk about modern theories of motivation, efficiency, and remuneration, and of course, digital HR. With all this AI data, ChatGPT, and everything that we are going to discuss during our 6th class. And today we have actually a lot to discuss and to learn. So I will skip maybe this big list of everything, and I will move on to the discussion directly. So let me introduce myself. If we meet for the first time, my name is Mike Pritula, and I actually started my work at Alpha Bank, which is now Sense Bank. I was a trainer and recruiter. I hired people, and then I taught them how to be banking specialists and how to give loans. Then I worked at Starlight Media. It's the biggest Ukrainian media company, and the part of it was STB TV channel. So I started as head of recruitment and onboarding, and later I became HR director. Then I continued my work at Wargaming, one of the biggest game dev company in the world. And I started my journey as HR business partner, and then I continued with Total Rewards lead job title. Then I worked for Preply. I helped them to build HR from the scratch, to form HR team, and to grow their headcount from 50, I think, to 100 something. And then I continued with ideas and did quite the same. Then I helped PeopleForce with the consultation, how to build better, or I would say best-in-class HR solution. And actually during this course, we will see how this solution works. And now, of course, I work at Mike Pritula Academy as a founder, as a CEO, as a main trainer. So I have over 115 courses in my academy, and I teach students around the world. I taught more than 10,000 students around the world, and the number is growing. And in my work, I usually consider all these best practices. Actually, today, in your student account, you will have, I don't know exactly, but I would say more than 10. Let me check. It's actually 13 different recent researches and surveys and trends and everything that I usually like to learn, to consider, and to analyze how it has impact on HR work. And I recommend you to do the same. And at the end of today's class, I will share some useful links to very famous people in the HR world that you may to subscribe to. Okay, and this class and this course, it has homeworks that you need to accomplish to obtain your diploma. So we give you assignment every class. So you will practice something, and then after you accomplished everything, you have the diploma of completion for this course. And this diploma is online. It's issued on the very trendy platform, the same platforms that Google, Harvard, Zendesk, Slack uses. So I think it's interesting. So let's start, and let's start from this. The world is changing, actually constantly. There are several revolutions that are happening in the world, and actually we passed several of them, like mechanical revolution, where mechanical production equipment was invented, then electrical revolution with the mass production, then of course internet revolution, then people was talking about digital revolution, and this revolution 4.0, it was something that people was just starting talking about in 2019, just recently. But then suddenly another revolution happened. They call it Industry 5.0, human-robot collaboration, cognitive systems customization, and it was in 2020. And people was talking about this even before ChatGPT was invented. And it was kind of, futuristic, something unrealistic that will happen somewhere in the future. People actually didn't consider this seriously. But then in 2023, ChatGPT was invented, right? And now we live in the situation where this chasm model works, and where people and actually companies are divided in different groups. So I recommend you to consider about and think about your company and yourself. Where are you on this model? There are innovators or techies, some companies and people that try everything new, that experiment and actually invent, like ChatGPT guys. Then there are early adopters, some companies and people that tries everything new at the moment it appears. I remember ChatGPT appeared on January 15th, I think, and I was among the first one of my network, at least, that tried ChatGPT, and I wrote a lot of articles. I recorded YouTube webinars, and so on and so forth. And lately, I actually started my course ChatGPT for HR, and after that, I started another course ChatGPT for recruiters, right? But some people at this time still don't use ChatGPT, which is strange. Then there is a big chasm, and then it's early majority pragmatists, then late majority conservatives, and laggards, skeptics. So, talking about HR trends, about all these revolutions and innovations, consider yourself and your company. Where are you on this model, on this scheme? Are you among innovators? Do you try everything new? Do you try to implement very fresh, maybe unfinished ideas in your work, and you build your own experience? Maybe you consider yourself as early adopters. You wait a little, you see how other company are experimenting, and then you jump in this, right, and start experimenting as well. Or you'll wait some time, like a year or more, and you are among early majority. So you don't wait until everyone will try something like ChatGPT, right? But you are not among the first ones. Or you maybe as late majority, you wait a lot, you're quite conservative, and you don't like to try everything new until it becomes the common thing. Or maybe you or your company as a laggards. You just don't believe in everything, right? So you wait until something happens, like those company before COVID that didn't believe in remote work. And then COVID pushed them to jump in the reality and to send people to remote work because there is no choice. So it's very important to consider where are you on this model and your company. And of course, talking about chart trends and being a modern company, trying to be the best place for work for people, I think it's better to move to the left part of this model, right? To be among early adopters, or at least one of early majority, but actually it's better to be early adopters. Okay, let's talk about what's happening in the world and what kind of predictors that shape the future that we are observing now and we will observe in the nearest several years. In the world, starting from, let's say, something like 20, the amount of vacancies, this is a blue line, is bigger than the amount of actual hires. So vacancies, there are more and more vacancies and field vacancies, right? It's a competition for talents. It's actually the gap for companies that they want to address and somehow solve. That's what's happening now. Then there are some drivers that causes the job changes. And these drivers are changing nature of work, flexible work, especially after COVID. You see these things happening. Companies, they want people to come back to the office, but people, they don't. They don't want to do that. They like how they work at home. It's very, nowadays, the term workation, like vacation plus work, is very popular. Lots of people are talking about workations, right? Because they enjoy the possibility to work and to travel, to spend some beautiful time somewhere. So this is what's happening. Then middle class in emerging markets, in these countries that are emerging, middle class is appearing and it changes the work, how it's done. Climate change, of course, natural resources, like, in Ukraine, for example, this autumn is very hot. It's unlike the previous Septembers, at least. And yeah, we feel this climate change. Geopolitical volatility, as we see this stuff is happening in like more and more countries are involved in different conflicts, wars, or other situations. Consumer ethics, privacy issues, longevity, aging societies, young demographics in emerging markets, women's economic power aspirations, and rapid urbanization. So these drivers, they cause the job change. Technological drivers of change, of course, is happening and also has influence over the job. Mobile, internet, and cloud technology, processing power, and big data. Actually, at this very moment, we are very dependent on processing power because, for example, ChatGPT 4.0 needs a lot of processing power. And what we consider now, they are slowing down or make it less complicated, make it less sophisticated just to match the current processing power. Because as I heard, ChatGPT costs lots of money every day to run. And I see very beautiful startups that are appearing and then they go bankrupt because of lack of processing power. So they believe that processing power will be increasing, and until they go to the market, like within 6 or 12 months, they could afford these technologies to be I would say, successful business. Just one example. There was a startup called NeuroDAP. It was a startup that could translate your video in any language. Like you have 1 hour video in your language, and it translates in any language with the voice, your voice, and amazing thing. But they went bankrupt because of lack of processing power. They could not afford the technologies to keep this startup going because the cost of processing power is very high at the moment, unfortunately. Big data, new energy supplies and technologies, Internet of Things, sharing economy, crowdsourcing, robotics, autonomous transport, artificial intelligence, advanced manufacturing, 3D printing, advanced material biotechnology. These technologies are changing the way we work and the way we organize our employee work. And also the future format of work is emerging. It's about three things. The first one is innovation. Bright, exciting ideas from the youngest to the oldest employees in the team. Then flexible structure. Changes in the organizational structure that empower employees and enable business to innovate quickly. And then automation. Intelligent technologies that allow employees to contribute more to their companies by giving them time to think more critically and creatively. So we will talk about everything from the slides in more details today and next classes. And talking about companies, how they adapted all these technologies, how they translate this into the working atmosphere and environment. Of course, we should talk about Google, which is a pioneer of changing how people work. Google, known for their campus and office layout, as well as staff benefits such as free meals, messages, and laundry services, many people thought this new method were fancy when they first introduced. They may not have known it. Google's new work environment was a result of extensive research with employees to better understand what type of work environment would allow them to do their best work. And it was a win-win for employees and employer and for Google's customer and investors. When I discovered this kind of new Google offices, I was so amazed and I can't believe it's real. It looked like a kindergarten. I think it was in 2005 or 6 or something like that. But later, I understood that the way they organize their employees' work is the future way of how all companies will organize the same work. And later, after several years, I saw that all companies, all tech companies first, and other companies, then change the way how people work. And I became the part of these companies, right? So this is, I don't know the country exactly, but it's Google Office, of course. And you see, it's very uncommon for some modern companies, even like factories, maybe banks. But then the Grammarly office in Kiev, quite interesting. And again, it's not standard, good colors. Then MacPo company, MacPo actually and Grammarly. I think you may heard about Grammarly, maybe about MacPo because they built Clean My Mac. And MacPo, you see the way they organize the office space is very interesting. But then it was 3 years ago, I was asked to visit this Biosphere company. This is a company, it's like a different, how to say, kitchen equipment, actually not equipment, cleaning equipment, some packaging, some, this is sponge stuff and gloves from gum. And it's not IT company, not high-tech company, but they build this beautiful office for their employees, being a manufacturer, just to innovate how people work. So I recommend you also to visit different companies just using your Instagram account. In Instagram on mobile, it's just on mobile. You may type the company name, some of your competitors, and move to Places tab, and you will see this company place and photos inside, mostly by visitors and employees, of course. And I recommend you to see how people work at your competitors. Just discover several companies. It's very interesting and inspiring. Let's move on. Tomorrow's employees, another research. 91% believe that the technology will affect their work. It's hard to not believe, right? 80% only want to work with coolest technologies. 90% would like to choose the location of their work. 51 will be freelancers, and 65 high school students today would be working in jobs that don't exist right now. So it's very important to understand. Integrating AI into the work. AI is a big stuff, and this year all of us realized how big this thing is. Approximately half of the jobs, not positions, but jobs, performed by workers can be automated. To succeed in the workplace of the future, workers will need to have a variety of skills. Jobs and work processes will change as more people work side by side with machines. Automation is likely to put pressure on average wages in developed countries, which is actually good for us, right? For people, not for companies, maybe. What value artificial intelligence can create across sectors? There is a McKinsey research, and they show that the biggest AI impact is here, like retail, transports and logistics, travel, and other industries. So find your industry here and realize how big this is. Which skills will be needed? Because we see that the world is changing, that these AI and computers and robots will take some of our jobs, or at least skills, or no, not skills, tasks. So we will need to modify our skill set. Studies how that the strongest growth is expected in technology skills, including both basic digital skills and more advanced technological skills. Demand for higher cognitive skills, social and emotional skills is also expected to rise. Higher cognitive skills, creativity, entrepreneurship, innovation, and social and emotion skills, leadership, service orientation, social influence, managing others, and emotional intelligence. The softer skills are becoming the new hard skills desired in our workforce. It's interesting, right? Total hours worked in Europe and the United States estimate, and it shows us this blue circle is 2016, and this thin empty circle like this, it's 2030. So physical and manual skills will be decreasing. We see this. Basic cognitive skills will be decreasing. Higher cognitive skills will be a little bit increasing. Social and emotional skills will be, I would say, moderate increasing. And technological skills will be very increasing. So this is a focus that your company and your employees should pay attention to. Then a new approach to compensation. Salaries are lagging behind the productivity. So this is the two graphs. We have here index of productivity and real earnings for the last 30 years. And we see this labor productivity, which is increasing year over year. Then we have real wages per waged hours. And we see that this is not so fast, right? So there is a lag between these two parts. Then companies on the market. There are different types of companies in terms of how they pay. Profit could be low or high, and quality of work for the employees could be high or low. If profit is low, but quality of work is high, it's not competitive. This is for startups that try to hire best talents, but they are not profitable and they can't survive. High quality of work with high profit, these are leaders, good for shareholders and employees. Also, there are companies with low profit and low quality of work. They are out of business or outsourcers. And companies with high profit but low quality of work, they are outsiders, good for shareholders but bad for employees. So when it comes to quality of work, salaries, benefits, and everything, if your company is profitable, you have to share with your employees. Focus on employee well-being. Employee well-being are very important nowadays. There is a Randstad research that shows that top 5 reasons employees choose an employer are following: salary and benefits, but this is just 1 out of 5. But then work-life balance, job security, work atmosphere, financial health, and this is increasing. You see, just work atmosphere is equal to the previous years, but these are increasing. So people are looking for jobs not just because salary and benefits, they want better work-life balance and everything that we call well-being. Also, what we know about current well-being trends: absence and attendance. Absenteeism is lowest at 5.9 days per employee per year, which looks good, but 83% said they go to work sick, which is actually distracting. 63% work on holidays and during sick days while at home, which is weird. And 37% report absence from work for reasons of stress. Main reasons for long-term absence: mental health, you see the biggest percentage. Stress, musculoskeletal injuries, acute medical conditions, and non-work related injuries and accidents. Again, mental health, the main reason why people are absent at work. Top 3 reasons for absence due to stress: workloads and volume of work, management style, and relationships at work. Employees' sense of belonging to the workplace and other things that is trendy now. Workers with a high sense of belonging take 75% fewer sick days. These sick days are equivalent to nearly 2.5 million in lost productivity per year per 10,000 employees. Alienated employees have a 50% higher turnover rate, which costs organizations approximately 10 million annually per 10,000 employees. Employees report a 56% increase in productivity when they feel part of team, which results in an annual cost of 52 million for every 10,000 employees. What enhances sense of belonging at work? Being recognized for my accomplishments, having opportunities to express my opinions freely, feeling that my contributions in team meetings are valued, feeling comfortable with being myself at work, and so on, you see? Then, another trend is about managing multi-generation staff, X, Y, and Z. We will talk about this in details next class, because now, at some companies, we can meet up to 5 generations at the same time, like builders, baby boomers, Generation X, Generation Y, and Generation Z. Not yet Generation Alpha, because they are quite young at the moment, but it's the reason of time, the matter of time. Executives say managing multi-generation teams is a challenge, 75%. And they manage a mostly even mix of employees from all 3 generations: baby boomers, Generation X, and millennials. Key issues: different work expectations among these generations, lack of comfort with younger employees managing older employees. More than 2/3 of respondents said the organization has made some effort toward elevating these challenges. This includes team building exercises, generational differences training, cross-generational networking, and tailored communications. Reformatting staff skills. There are some jobs that are emerging, like big data architects, automation technicians, and so on, and some jobs that are declining: team assemblers, secretaries and administrative staff, inspectors, testers, sorters, samplers, weighers, and so on. So this is very good to understand what's happening with the job and what kind of skills will be in demand. Creating and preserving knowledge in the organization is another trend. It's about learn, use, share, search, update, and capture all knowledge that we need for our company to work. The evolving role of HR is another trend. The day before yesterday, HR was more personal officer, and the work was about registration of employment contracts and books of employment, receiving questionnaires from those wishing to work in the company, placement of vacancies, not so wise work. Yesterday it was HR manager, recruitment and adaptation, sending for training, organizing events. Today, we call ourselves business partners. HR strategy development, EVP management, increasing engagement, HR analytics, and business insights. But tomorrow, what will we doing at our job? We will focus on automation. We will be architecture of HR processes and communication with business. We will be doing negotiation and persuading candidates. We will provide human touch, conflict resolution, demonstrating behavior like a role model, and giving an inspiration, like Wendy Rhodes in Billions TV series, right? How will HR change over the next 10 years? Human resources will disappear. All documents will be electronic. There will be no companies without HR automation. There will be no permanent employment. People will work on 3 up to 10 jobs at once. More than 50% of people will work from home. Employees will have to prove the freshness of their knowledge every year through certification. Management will be a program. The role of the manager will be abolished. HR will be divided into 2 main types, technologists and psychologists. People from 10 to 80 years old will work together. This is interesting, right? Case studies of companies that keep up with trends. Unlimited vacation at HubSpot. After 5 years at HubSpot, you receive a 4-week paid sabbatical equivalent to a $5K US bonus. $50,000, it's intuitive surgical. The following is the annual tuition for intuitive surgical. 8-week recharge at the Boston Consulting Group. The management consulting firm supports flexible leave schedules and the Time for You program in North America, which gives employees the opportunity to take additional time off during the year. And this kind of companies, they are becoming the best employers because they provide something new and they go with trends. Okay, these were the general trends for the next 5 to 10 years, but let's talk about the current year and what's happening now and next year. For this, we will learn Deloitte, their Global Human Capital Trends Report, and Josh Bersin. Before that, Josh Bersin and Deloitte worked together and they built Bersin by Deloitte Human Capital Trends. Then several years ago, they divided and started working separately. And now Bersin has its own HR predictions and Deloitte has its own Human Capital Trends Report. But we will combine and we will learn what's happening right now, right these years, and again, how we can learn from it. And actually, these materials will be in your student account, so you may read it in details. Okay, let's start from this. Commands instead of hierarchies. Dedication to the mission, not to the leader. Real teamwork, high autonomy, building networks, application of agile principles in non-high-tech companies. And examples here are Spotify and ING. You may heard that Spotify, they'll build this beautiful network organization and structure. And now they have not just standard hierarchical functional organization, they have this network organization. So every employee in the company, they could work at the same time in 5 types of structure. They could be part of squad, which is just a team, small team. And actually, this small team consists of different specialists like front-end developer, back-end developer, designer, QA automation, maybe copywriter, maybe customer success manager. These squads could be part of tribe, and the tribe is a part that focuses on a bigger part of product. But then some of employees could work in chapters. Actually, maybe not work, but being present. By chapter, they mean the function. Like all front-enders, front-end developers, they form one chapter. All designers, they form another chapter, and so on. And also, there could be guild, which is for interests. Like all people that are interested in AI and machine learning, they could be part of this AI and machine learning guild, and so on. Very interesting organizational structure, very unusual and very effective. Also, there is a company called Anfix. They actually help build companies these kind of structures. Because for some companies, they don't need just to copy Spotify structure. They may need something different. And Anfix helps to go from standard hierarchy and functional structure to more advanced with different networks inside it. So it's very interesting what they propose to the companies. I recommend you to visit the site and learn more about the approach. Even more flexible teams. So we are expecting more temporary roles, more team goals, more multiple managers. Even such companies as SAP, they introduce dynamic teams just to reflect how people work. And of course, for example, PeopleForce, they already have it. So you may organize any people in so many different commands and teams so they can work flexibly. Then next trend is about jobs and not positions. Steve Jobs said, the only way to do great work is to love what you do. So this about people are working less and less 9 to 5, 9 hours, 5 days a week. It's about frequent role changes and internal mobility. It's about working in projects, not positions. It's about dual careers, not becoming an executive at all costs. It's about focus on skills, like gig workers. Actually, they are prime examples, right? So no matter who you are, you have your application like Uber or Glovo or something like that. You have tasks that you accomplish and you are being paid. As a result, hiring for skills rather than experience. And the next trend built from this is domestic talent market. Employees within the company can put a task on the marketplace and other employees can pick it up and execute it and being rewarded. Again, SAP, they introduced this another module, opportunity marketplace. So everyone could post some opportunity, some assignment and set some requirements. Then employees could pick some of assignment or at least apply for this assignment. And they, if they are being approved, they do the assignment and they are being rewarded. Very interesting, right? So it's not just someone propose you the job, but it's about picking some assignments based on your skills, your experience, your talents, and then doing the job and being rewarded. Next trend is about being a coach, not a boss. So management is an opportunity to help people become better people. If practiced in this way, it's a great profession. It's a Clayton Christian. And again, this being a coach, not a boss, is an approach that Google introduced in 2008, right? So being a good coach is the number one competency for their managers from that time. It's now for 15 years. And being a coach, it's behaving in a different way. You see, if you saw this Ted Lasso TV series, actually this hero is acting like a coach, not a manager. And it's very big difference compared to standard approach. So what's it about? It's about management skills in network structures. It's about continuous feedback. It's about regular meetings. like once a week with employees, what we call one-to-one meetings. Then culture, not rules. I think Netflix maybe was the first one who introduced this approach. They realized that, people can't work just following the rules. Sometimes rules are not applicable. But if you have right culture in place, it's what shapes your employee behavior in better ways than every rule. The culture framework that was discovered by Josh Bersin is a framework that helps company to be the most efficient one. What it includes: growth mindset, purpose, communication, support, collaboration, appreciation, and well-being. When company introduces this culture in their work, these companies with this kind of culture, they have huge benefits, huge business benefits. From Josh Bersin discovery, companies leveraging the right culture elements are, and see these figures, 20 times more likely to exceed financial targets, 6 times more likely to be an industry leader, 5 times more likely to be productive, 5 times more likely to satisfy and retain customers, 2 times more likely to innovate effectively, 4 times more likely to adapt well to change, 20 times more likely to be recognized as a great place to work, which is very important for our work, for HR work, 6 times more likely to be able to attract and recruit new talent, 15 times more likely to engage and retain employees, and 10 times more likely to have lower absenteeism. You see how huge this impact is. Employee listening strategy, another trend for current years. In a world where hybrid work practices are misunderstood, we should let employees tell us what they think will increase productivity. Every new idea for redesigning workstations, improving team efficiency, or new workflows is likely to come from a passionate, well-intentioned employees. And Microsoft Viva and Glint employee feedback, so they built this tool. Actually, here in this presentation, we have a lot of different links. Of course, I highly recommend you to visit and to read these cases and researches to get better understanding of what's happening. Next, working 4 days a week is becoming new real. Several years ago, it was kind of a very interesting and fun experiment, but now it's becoming the reality. There is even a website, 4dayaweek.io. So they post 4-day work week jobs, and the amount of these jobs are evolving. Let's check the website. So what they are talking about: 100K people. Sorry, what's happened? They work for they getting weekly alerts. So this is a database. How many they have job seekers. But let's see if they have this vacancies, number of vacancies. They have the list of vacancy, but if we have the 250 4-day week job. So you see there are lots of them. And actually they have these jobs, companies, 300 companies with 4-day work week. They also have some countries, list of countries with this approach. You see how many countries are here. So it's becoming the new standard. I think, and I truly believe, that for the next several upcoming years, we will see this to be a new normal. Sorry. The next thing is focus on productivity. Companies, they were increasing the headcount at every economic growth, and they did a lot of layoff during the economic decline. And this approach is not effective one. If you need more, actually, they don't need more people. They do need more work to be done. And for this, they should not just hire people, but also to seek for ways to improve the productivity. So the new focus here is not to how to hire more people, but rather how to increase current employee productivity and remain the same amount of people. In recruitment, focus on counseling. It's even the new job title for recruiters. They call it talent acquisition partner. So it's not just to fill the vacancies. It's also about counseling hiring managers and giving them ideas of how to solve their problems in the most effective way, maybe not with the hiring, maybe with some other ideas and solutions. So that's what's happening in recruitment. Then new HR operating model. All functions are interconnected. At some companies, all HR functions, they are not connected to each other. Like, let's say, talent acquisition department. They hire people, they fill the scorecard, they assess the competencies, but competency assessment is not going to the learning and development department, which is strange, right? If we hire a person and we did a holistic approach of assessment, competency assessment, then we have to pass this information to learning and development so they can pick it and continue the further development. But sometimes these connections are broken, and new trend here is to interconnect everything to be the whole system and to work as a, I would say, the real system, not just a set of departments. Then longevity. People are becoming to live more and more years. And actually, there is some drop in the United States with this because of the exceeding weight. But general in the world, the longevity of people are increasing, and actually people are in a better condition and better mental health. So we expect people to work not up to 60 years, but maybe 70 and 80 years. And for this, we have to adapt the company and the culture and the workplace, something we have to consider. Then ChatGPT and other AIs. Of course, it's happening. It has a huge influence. And there is a MIT research that says that 37 time saving when people with intellectual work, they apply ChatGPT. Best practices are already integrated, develops very quickly, your employees will work with it, and you need to try at least one new tool per week with different AI stuff to be up to date. HRIS, of course, HRIS is something that every company is needed. This is where AI for HR processes will first appear. It's already a platform for innovations, saves 30 to 50% of HR and recruiters' time, saves 10 to 30% of employees' time, and payback here is 300%. So you spend $1 and you save $3 per each $1. Twitter is a major source of news. The place where everything is happening is Twitter. So if you don't read Twitter, join and start reading news, because this is the place where every news is appearing first. Then transparency in payment, the new trend. Actually, there are some companies, they already publish all their salaries like Buffer. So you may open Buffer website and find all their salaries online. So it's not just internal, like for employees. It's also external. So you may check all salaries of every team members and to know how much they earn. Looks like a strange, right? We are not prepared for that, maybe. But actually, I truly believe that this will be new norm, like the OKR now. Previously, people didn't know each other goals and objectives in the company, but with OKR, we started to make it public. The next level will be pay transparency. Why not? Of course, some people will be demotivated with the higher salary of their colleagues and peers, but this will cause the competition. If I see someone earns more than me, I will try to do my best to earn the same amount of money, right? So I think it's for good. I don't believe it can cause some damage to the company. Maybe very short term for low performing employee could cause some damage and they will leave the company, but that's okay. It's very good for the company. But for high performance employee, it will be good. So we are talking about lots of different trends, about lots of different situations that are happening in the world and in the different spheres. One of the tools that help company to take into considerations all these innovations and trends is a pestle analysis. Usually this tool is used during the HR strategy preparation. Usually it's a part of SWOT analysis, but could be filled separately. So I recommend you to use this tool to track all trends. PESTLE stands for Politics, Economic, Society, Technologies, Environment, and Legislation. So you may want to fill this analysis and analyze possible impact on the company and impact on the team, on the HR team, right? And here, as I promised, I'm giving you the list of different HR leaders, opinion leaders, to subscribe to their Twitter and LinkedIn. And now the homework. Write down 5 trends that your company is looking forward to in the next 5 years. Evaluate the importance of each trend to your company's success and write 3 ideas that you can implement in your company to become a more prepared company for HR trends. That's it. Next time we will talk about working with Generation Z and Alpha. This Alpha born after 2010, but this will be becoming a new normal, maybe within 2 or 3 years, because this generation could be maybe not the full time, of course, but partly involved in the business life, and we need to be prepared. And usually, when we talk about company transformation, usually we need from 3 to 5 years to adapt company to something new. So talking about today, let's say 5 years ahead, we will have 18 years old Alpha. So when our company is prepared, and 18 years is something that people could start working with some starting positions in your company. So we still have time to be prepared, and we need to start thinking about them right now. That's it. Thank you for your attention. I'm waiting for your homework, and see you soon. Bye.